Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about the ancient weapon Uranus. Also, before I do start, let me just say that I just moved into a new house and I'm in a new room, so it might sound a little echoey. I apologize if it does, please let me know. But anyway, so yeah, the ancient weapon Uranus, the last piece of the puzzle. We already know what Poseidon is, we already know what Pluton is, the last missing one is Uranus. Now I started thinking about what it could be, and it went from just trying to think of a basic idea to this incredible one-piece theory of everything I came up with. So I am really excited to make this video. It's going to get really ridiculous, so do bear with me, but it kind of does all fit together. So let me know what you guys think about this. So how I think these ancient weapons might be set up is like we have one underwater, one land, and one sky-based. Poseidon is the Greek god of the sea, so that makes sense. Pluton is pretty much Pluto, who is, in Greek mythology, Hades, who is the ruler of the underworld, and Uranus is the god of the sky. So now, it doesn't completely make sense because, you know, Poseidon fits being underwater because Shirahoshi is underwater, but Pluton would have to be the one that is, like, land-based because Hades is the underworld, which is pretty much just, like, the core of the earth, so you would think that it would be something that operates on land. So this stumped me for a while why Pluton would be a ship, because obviously a ship sails on water. But if you look at it from a different perspective, it could kind of be like the one-piece version of a landish ship. So like on Earth, even though it's 75% made of water, we primarily live on very large continents. Because of this, we often divide it into the sea, the land, and the air. However, in the One Piece world, which is an archipelago, it would stand to reason that the surface of the water could be just like how we view our land on Earth. A shit ton of people spend the majority of their time on the water on a ship in the One Piece world, just like we spend most of our time on land. So it's kind of like those are the same thing, like Pluton would be the land version weapon in the One Piece world. So as long as you don't think that's stretching it too far, it works out perfectly that Poseidon's the water one, the underwater one, Pluton is the, either surface of the water or earth, and then Uranus would be a sky-based weapon. Now the question is, what kind of weapon could we find that has to do with the sky? If there was such a thing, you would imagine that we would have found it in Sky Island. But I think there's a possibility that we might actually be talking beyond the Sky Islands, but we'll get to that later in a little bit. First, let's talk about the Celestial Dragons. So at the end of Dressrosa, Dofi explained to Law that the reason he is able to do so much with his, kind of Celestial Dragon powers, even though he's not really one anymore, is because, since he was a Celestial Dragon at one point, he knows about the secret national treasure in Marijoy. Now, to be completely honest, I always imagined that it was most likely Uranus that they were holding, but I didn't really have any theory of what Uranus could be exactly. But now I've developed a theory that I am pretty confident in, and I think there is a very good chance that something relating to what I'm going to say here could come true. Now, I know when they were first getting introduced, a lot of people came up with theories that the Celestial Dragons could be from space or something, which is why they wear, like, spacesuit kind of things. It could also very well be true that they just wear that because, like, they don't want to breathe the same air as everyone else, even though that doesn't really make sense, like, that's not how it would work. But, I mean, it's definitely possible those are spacesuits and that's just, like, what they wore when they came down to the One Piece world. So let's imagine this. Let's imagine that the Celestial Dragons originally came from the moon. And while we're at it, let's say that the D's also lived on the moon. And now this is when we're going to get into some crazy speculation, but just bear with me, it's all going to make sense at the end. So imagine if the Celestial Dragons were a faction that lived on the moon as well as the family of D, and the Celestial Dragons lived on the light side, and the D's lived on the dark side. And you see how, like, dark starts with a D? See what I'm doing there? So if this were true, then I would imagine that the family of D would not be so happy that they got stuck with the dark side. I reckon they would probably try to fight back. They would probably try and either move into the light side, or if the Celestial Dragons wouldn't allow it, they would probably start a war. I bet that they would do everything they possibly could to get on that light side. So they would invest a lot of research into weapons, just ways that they could win in a war. What if one of the things that they created to boost their combat power was devil fruits? If you think about it, there is no reason that we should believe that devil fruits are not artificial originally. If Vegapunk was able to create one, then, I mean, there shouldn't really be a problem here, right? Like, why would it even be possible for him to artificially make one if they just appeared there? If you ask me, it actually makes more sense that devil fruits are all artificial devil fruits. But so back to the moon. Imagine that originally it wasn't a moon like the one that we have here on Earth. What if it was just a smaller planet that was fertile and everything? It was just like a normal planet. Then there was just this massive war, maybe for hundreds of years. I don't know. I mean, it's just a huge war between the D's and the Celestial Dragons. The D's create devil fruits and it gets even more out of control, and I would imagine that the Celestial Dragons were building some pretty powerful weapons too. There had to be a way that they were holding on to the light side the whole time. So pretty much, the moon becomes like the moon we have now. It just gets completely wiped out, I guess kind of like a big desert, but not even, because it's just all like rocks, just like the moon we have. So as that's coming to an end, the family of D and the Celestial Dragons are like, okay, well, we gotta get out of here, and I guess we could just go to that huge planet we're orbiting. So the family of D gets to Earth by using some kind of devil fruit they created. I can't even imagine. Maybe it's a dragon, maybe it's some guy that just turns into a spaceship. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, it's devil fruits. Like, it could be anything. It doesn't really... We're talking Oda here, okay? Like, it could be anything. And then the Celestial Dragons, I believe, created Uranus as a way to get to Earth. So I'm guessing that it's some kind of like spaceship kind of deal, so they were able to get from the moon to Earth safely. Honestly, for all we know, Marie's Joy itself might actually be the spaceship. It's just like some giant castle that can just turn into a spaceship. Like, its rooks at the end just turn into thrusters. I don't know. I mean... I really don't know. Like, we haven't seen anything about the weapon yet. I'm completely speculating here, but I think that they somehow built a spaceship of some sort, and that would be Uranus. It should have to do with the sky, so it does add up. And then, I mean, the rest is history, really. They both made it to Earth, so they were still probably enemies because, I mean, as we know, the Celestial Dragons are complete assholes, so I'm sure they wanted to wipe the D's off the face of the Earth. And if they really did create the Devil Fruits, then they might have been scared of that power, so... there you go. Clovis did say that Raftel, which is kind of like where we're assuming the D's came from, was a super advanced civilization, so it does make sense that they were able to get here in some kind of way, which I believe is Devil Fruit. So yeah, that's my theory on Uranus. I really like how it came out. It's funny how I came up with the idea, actually. I was just sitting in my econ class, and my teacher was just talking about herself and her kids for some reason. I really don't know what's going on. I couldn't take it anymore, and I just flipped to the last page of my notebook and started writing out all the ideas I have for this theory, and just kept going and going. I kept coming up with more ideas off the ones I was coming up with already, and it just became this awesome thing, and I knew I had to make a video on it. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know again, as always, if you have any theories you'd like me to discuss, or just let me know about. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I also added this watermark thing to all my videos now, so like in the bottom right you should be able to see the little F, and you hit that and like a little subscribe button, because it was pretty cool, you know. If you haven't already, you should really check it out. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.